What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thrifty, back with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. Welcome back to the channel. I am going to be covering Diablo 4 today. I love the Diablo franchise. I've been a fan of the Diablo franchise. I hate Blizzard, so I waited to buy this game. Let's dive in to what I thought about it and how much I paid for it. So, how much I paid for it? I paid $20 for the game. I got it at a local store and paid 20 bucks for it. That's awesome. I didn't want to buy it brand new because I didn't want to give Blizzard any money. So I bought it and I come home, I download it. The guys in the Discord for the channel going nuts about it, saying it's great, it's wonderful, it's this, it's that. The first thing that I notice within the first hour of the game is that the main villain, Lilith, she actually has depth to her. So I was already surprised. I have played every other Diablo game, and every single time the boss or the big bad Diablo, they are all very much like one-dimensional: scream, yell, slam stuff, grunt a lot, just big fat demon, like, and that's cool, but it was never a focal point. Like, oh, your character's gonna go kill Diablo. That was your, like, story. That was, like, what drove you. Oh, you gotta kill Diablo. Got it. And that was just the vessel that was used to get the player into combat. Now, with Lilith, this chick is evil. She's conniving. She's manipulative. And honestly, I couldn't stand her. I couldn't wait until the end of the game where I knew, she's the big bad, so you're going to have to fight her eventually. And I knew that when that moment came, I was going to be so happy because I hated that character. So kudos, first thing, within the first hour of the game, I'm giving kudos to the writing team. Because the writing team on this did absolutely stellar. So, continuing on though, because maybe you're like, dude, it's a Diablo game, who gives a crap about the story? And, in some aspect, you'd be right. So let's continue on. What does everybody love about Diablo games? The combat, the gameplay loop, right? Those are the things that most of us love. It's that I can go in there and they give me a power fantasy and it is so freaking good, right? That's what takes us to these games. The power fantasy in this game is, it's whatever you actually want to make it. So what I mean by that is I over-leveled myself in this game. You'll notice some of my fights I'm at like level 45 or 50, and some of them are from the Fractured Peaks, which is like the first area. And so I'm here in the first area for 15 hours, remembering articles that I read where people had said, the game doesn't really, like, it takes like 12, 15 hours to beat the whole thing. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And that happened because of the gameplay. So let's get into it. You go into dungeons, you go into caverns. After you're done with those, you go do random side missions that you get from people all over. Then, after that, you go back to town, or back to whatever rest stop, you sell all your items, you upgrade your items, you level up your gear, level up your character. Yep. Then, after that, you go back out and you do it again. You interact in little world events if you're playing seasonal. And then you go back and you do it again. And then you go back to town, you sell all your stuff, you get more quests if they've opened up, you explore new sections of the map, you find altars of Lilith, you do dungeons here and there, and all while you're doing this, you're going along completing the main story. It is a gameplay loop that pulls me in. It literally does. I can play this game for 30 minutes or I can play this game for 30 hours. I love it. I absolutely love the okay, take quest, go here, on your way, you can explore all these areas. You might find another quest, go do that quest, it takes you somewhere else. And then after an hour and a half, you circle back to the first original side quest that you started the night trying to accomplish, but you completely just got lost in the game and in the gameplay loop. And that happened to me more than once while playing this game. One of the other things they do related to gameplay is the level up system is done so well. It's like a blend of D2 and D3 for the leveling system. I absolutely love it. I can understand why some people say uh, it's very rudimentary, it's very easy because it is. But also in its ease of use brings a way greater level of accessibility. So what I mean by that is even as a seasoned veteran Diablo player, because like I said, I've been playing since it came out on the PS1, and so as a player who's played these games, the skill tree in D2 was absolutely god awful. Like, still to this day, if you're going to play D2 and beat the game, pretty much the only way you can do it, I'm sorry, not the only way. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but the only way I can do it is by going online and finding a primer on how to build your character and where to put your skill points as you gather them level by level. Because you can only reset your skill tree once in that game. And so you now fast forward to Diablo 4. Let's say you want to build a Blizzard sorcerer. You see the one I have on the screen and you're like, "Man, that looks real fun." Well, guess what? You can go back into your game or you can build it and then go, "Hey, I hate it." Okay, cool. Spec out into something else. I absolutely adore the way they did the skill trees. One of the other things I like about it is I knew going in that I wanted to build a Blizzsork. So that's a Blizzard sorcerer. And so, as I was thinking about this, knowing that that's what I wanted to go into, the first thing I did was open up the skill tree because I didn't know what it was going to look like. And so I open it up and I'm like, oh, ice, no, that's a different side of ice. Like, you can read all of the different nodes and you then get the idea, oh, okay, so Blizzard, that's probably the one I want. But you can only pick one of those in that area. Okay, cool. So, like, the game really does kind of help direct you a bit to choose something along the path that you're looking for, right? And so I really like that. But I felt like I've gushed about this now for like 5 minutes. So let's move on to the combat, because now you have all those skill trees. You have this amazing gameplay loop, perfect pacing throughout the world, and now you move on to combat. You have all your stuff. Let's go kill things. How does the game do at killing things? Guys, it's no secret. Diablo has always been a good game for killing stuff. It always has been. It's always been a good game for good feeling combat, for combat that engaged you, for combat that kept you moving, and this does not disappoint. Maybe you're sitting here and going, "Dang, Thrifty, I've never been here," and you keep talking about all these older games. So, if you've never played Diablo at all, the combat is some of the most addicting combat you can play. And so, with D4, they actually kept that trend kind of going. I mentioned earlier in the video that I could find myself playing for 30 minutes or for 3 hours and not even realize it. And it's because of things like the combat. This whole video, what you're seeing mostly are combat clips. Because the combat is gorgeous. It's so fun. And I mentioned power fantasy earlier. When you're going around, when you're fighting these creatures, when you are exploring these caves and dungeons, when you're completing these quests, you feel overpowered. Now, granted, I also said at the beginning that you can kind of gauge that. You can kind of say, hey, I don't want to be overpowered. I'm not going to do a ton of the side stuff right now. I'm going to go ahead and just run through the main story. And then I'll come back and I'll start the side missions and what have you. It's hard for me to describe. Because you have all your abilities, all your spells at the bottom mapped to different buttons on the controller. Then you have, your health pool, your spellcasting pool. Oh, one of the things I do want to say about the spellcasting pool of resource, the mana resource. I do want to say that I absolutely hate that it regenerates and that I cannot use a potion on it. That's annoying. It's very annoying. So, outside of that one little gripe, that one tiny little gripe, everything else in combat is amazing. Alright, so moving on. Sound quality. Audio, sound in here is top-notch. Shouldn't surprise us, Blizzard has always done really well in the audio and video portions. Always. But one of the things that I love about this is it pulls you in and it sucks you into the world. It literally combines perfectly with the gameplay and the combat systems. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're getting to an area that's more calm, the music tones down. When you're going to an area that's more dark and ominous, the music reflects that. And literally it will just pull you into the game.
Time to prepare that.
Dungeons have their own sounds, have their own music and background to them. Everything about the music in this game is meant to go hand in hand with the gameplay and with the combat, and I think it does it perfectly. The voice work is awesome. I told you already how much I hate Lilith. How much I hate Lilith. But part of that's because of how she talks. She's just an evil wench. And so, that has to do with the performance. The way she comes across, the voice work is excellent. And the voice work for Lorath is probably some of my favorite. I would say probably top 5 in my video games. I love the way Lorath sounds. Okay, so I've talked a lot. I didn't want to make this video 27 minutes long, so I'm going to put a big freaking number on this game, and then I'm going to tell you if I think it was worth 20, 25 bucks. Alright, so my big number for this game, I'm actually going to go with a 9. I think the game is amazing. I think they did a fantastic job. I did not play any of the multiplayer. I'm sorry. I did not pay for any additional content. I have not paid for anything like that. I don't have any skins or anything other than the stuff that was free during one of the last giveaway event things. I paid $20 for this game. And I can recommend that all day long. I would say, honestly, $30 for the game, good deal. I'd go ahead and pick it up at $30. If you hate Blizzard, or hate what old Blizzard was under BK, I understand. But Give this game a chance. Find it used. And I think you're going to absolutely enjoy it. I loved it, and I hope you did too. I hope this helped you figure out if you're going to purchase the game. And at the end of the day, guys, it's your money. And as always, stay thrifty.